Ay.
Hey guys, let's not pretend here. You know who it is, okay? So today I'm here with Michael Mueller. I know, right? Don't get me worked up, okay? Because remember, the hands don't sweat anymore. The doctor said I'm doing way better at that. So, but it's not really controlling the consistent mind thoughts that I'm having here. Like I'm mentally psyching myself out here. What do you guys think? I should go back to the doctor. That's great and all. Anywho, Michael Mueller's here, and I just want to make this the most comfortable place he could ever be at this moment, right now. He has such a huge announcement, and something that means so much to him, and I don't want to screw it up. I just want him to just feel right at home. Do you guys feel at home when you're here? When my hands aren't sweating. You know what? This is not going to be a thing about my hands sweating. Mike, please, don't listen to anyone about the sweaty palms. It's normal, right? When you are about to speak to someone that just you find just so cool and amazing, and all you want to do is just show them that you don't have sweaty palms. Huh? Anywho, everybody, just remember, when Michael shows up, just play it cool, okay? Like me right now. Jeez. Oh, he's here? Michael Mueller? Oh, wow. Great. Michael Mueller, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us. Let's go. Welcome to my show again. Freddie J's A Voice to Be Reckoned With, Season 3. Thank you so much, everyone. Today, let's give a very warm welcome to Creative Director Michael Mueller. Yes, he is here, and he has so much to share. His premiere trailer, and I'm gonna let Michael come on here and blast us away what he has. And he's such a treat. He's such an awesome guy, and it's an honor to have him on the show. A voice to be reckoned with, because Michael has a voice and with some great things to share. Just let's please give him a warm welcoming. And guys, let's show him what we do and how we do here at Brandy J's, A Voice to Be Reckoned With. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to my show with Brandy J, A Voice to Be Reckoned With. We are in for a treat today. I have here with me Michael Mueller, Creative Director. Michael, are you here?
I am here. I'm excited, and I'm full of energy right now.
Yes, I love it. I am too. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing great. Like we were mentioning off the air, this is the kickoff interview for our promotional campaign for it's actually my first feature film, The E-Listers, which is it's a comedy, and it's hilarious. That's all I can say. I'm really excited. We have the trailer, that world premiere on Monday, and I'm just biting at the chops to let it out, and I can't do it till Monday. So it's you got to build the hype. You can't just put it out there. So that's where I'm at right now.
For sure. That's great. Wow. I see that I saw some stuff that I thought was so sweet, so great that you do online, and you're a family man, first of all.
Oh yeah, 100%. I have 3 sons and a wife, and for me, it's really I would love to build a legacy of something that could be passed on to them. In the form of my creative studio, or just them following in my footsteps, So it's at the end of the day, it's really, it's my passion, but it's to build the legacy at the same time.
That's so awesome. That is so awesome. I got honors of seeing you propose. I think it was the proposal, and then announcing the birth of your child. I had no idea, and then I saw it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, he is."
Yeah, so really my break in just video production really came back in like 2010, and I had somebody hire me to do like a surprise wedding proposal in the form of a movie trailer in which she watched before Fast Five in the theater back in 2010. And from that, Matt Still was the guy who hired me. We just formed a really tight creative friendship, and we kind of just started getting into these creative announcements, and we like to call them epic proposals or whatever. And so we actually did one for when him and his wife got pregnant, and then we did one for when me and my wife had our first, and then him and my wife teamed up and surprised me when we were when my wife was pregnant with our youngest one. So it's kind of like I live in this world where I never know if someone's being for real or if I'm being led into getting blindsided by something. So it's interesting, but I mean it's like the coolest thing about it is like my 1-year-old, he'll be 2 in March. When he sees that, he'll be able to be 15 and go back and see that. And that's what I love so much about just the technology age that we live in, is that literally we're leaving a history trail for our kids. You know what I mean?
For sure. That's awesome. Was it something that you always wanted to do?
As far as like video, or just doing the surprise announcements?
Video, just working in directing and working in the field.
Well, I would say I've always been a huge like movie lover growing up, and even in my 20s, and I just never thought it was something possible. So I think it's always been like something buried in deep down inside of me. But then, like, I think it was like 2009 is when the DSLR age came to life, and all of a sudden you could get some really great quality video for a fraction of the cost, as opposed to shooting something on film or something like that. So and I have my best friend Amir, who lives in Phoenix. He was living in Georgia at the time, and he had me gassed up to get this Canon camera, and he had me thinking I was going to be like Michael Bay overnight. I just need to go and buy this camera, which the camera was like $900. It wasn't like we weren't like in big Hollywood production type gear or anything. But then I bought it, and then all of a sudden, here comes the learning curve. Like, I was like, dude, I have no idea what I'm doing. I just know what I'm creating doesn't look like anything I've seen in any movie before, because it was horrible. Like, you got to make a ton of stuff that sucks before you start making something that's good. So, but that just really fueled it. And then that same year is when the whole proposal thing happened, and it went super viral. And then it was like, out of nowhere, we had like networks like licensing the footage from me so they could run it in segments, and we had a ton of coverage. Like the couple, Matt and Jenny, they went on the Ellen show, and she paid for their honeymoon, and it was just like, so that really just lit the fire under me to, like, it just was like the sign that I needed to know I was moving in the right lane. Like, it was something I was built to do.
Wow, that's awesome. Man, I want to be just like Mike when I grew up, guys.
No, you got to aim higher. Like, just see whatever I've done and just aim. You got to aim higher than that. It's just, like I'm nowhere near where I want to be. Like last night, me and my wife, we were watching the new Kevin Hart special on Netflix, which was kind of like more of a behind the scenes documentary.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's pretty awesome. I liked it.
It is. I think we got one more episode to go, but you know, it was just looking at what he accomplished, like within, you know, just the past 5 to 10 years. Like he just hit his 40s, and I'm just like the massive success. Like it's super inspirational, but it's also like super intimidating. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause it's you know, that level of success is, you know, it's just not common, and it's definitely not the thing that I'm striving for. But just to be able to make a living telling stories and having anybody want to watch them is amazing enough for me. But just to think about, you know, in that lane, those things it's possible, you know?
Yeah.
So that definitely is like, it's definitely inspirational, but again, like I said, it's also scary as crap.
Yeah, for sure. Because Kevin, he's like, whew. But I liked it because it showed his side of him being, you know, to be identified. He's a real person, obviously, but you know, kind of let us see him in a different light. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I really, you know, I always tend to, anytime the media starts to drag any celebrity or anybody through the mud, I think it just, for me, it really aggravates me, because nobody has a clue what it's like to live under a magnifying glass and have every single thing you do be judged, like what you wore walking to take out the trash, or what.
I know. Oh my God.
I mean, could you think about, like, you know, you go to your job now, people get on your nerves, but then you don't have to deal with them because you go home and you don't see them. But like these people are just waiting, and they're watching, and they're judging. Like I don't even think. Yeah. Like I don't think the average person like myself or anyone else can really even understand what that must be like from a mental standpoint, and then the stress it causes. You know, I mean, I don't know. I think so. To drag people through the mud without knowing what that would be like yourself, I think is just like, I think it's kind of shitty, you know?
Yeah, it really, really is. And then all people see is like the glitz and the glam of everything. They don't see that, dude, people like in your business 24, you can't even scratch your ass, you know what I mean, without somebody, you know, those little things you don't want anybody to see.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, you know, and just the strain it causes on your personal relationships and your family life. Like there's just, you know, so I'm not always so quick to, you know, and I know they had that big segment about his tweets from like 2009, and it was just like, I'm like, man, it's just like, it's crazy. Like the thing is like, how can we crucify people for stuff like that? Nobody's perfect. Like I'm sure everybody at some point has said something they're not proud of, or they mean like 100%. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
He just happened to be in the public eye. Yeah, and it's a God put on, you know, in the public eye, and it's just like we all have those moments where it's like we screw up or made a bad decision, and you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. There's always somebody in the lurks ready to tear somebody, just waiting to tear somebody down, and that just sucks about, you know, the world today. So
it is. I agree with that 1,000%.
Well, I do appreciate you, and I like, we were talking earlier about the things you do. You said you're really big on dreaming and people following their dreams, and, you know, getting away from the, you know, the BS of the superficial, the everyday, you know, the whole money thing. Like I'm just over money. Yeah. I love money, but I don't love money. I just appreciate what it does. You know what I mean? Get me what I'm happy. You know what I'm able to do with it, but there's no fulfillment there as far as, inside, and you can feel it too. If you're really in touch with yourself there, you feel empty.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. It's I am a huge advocate for the dream chasers that are out there, and I try anybody I speak to that wants to talk about it, I'll talk about it, and I want to encourage people to find whatever it is their passion is in life and figure out a way to monetize it, to earn a living doing it. And there's been a lot of conversations I've had with people, and they're just like, I don't know, what that is. And I'm like, what do you do that you're not doing it for money? It's like a hobby or just pure enjoyment, and you love it more than anything else. Like if you know what that is, there is an angle out there to find a way to there's a market for it. And now with the internet, you can reach that market. It's just like there's a guy has a YouTube channel. He's got I don't know how many million subscribers, and his obsession is with ants, and he has ant farms. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, so like if you go to YouTube and you go to Ants Canada, that's the name of the channel, and this guy has like there is a market and a subculture of people that just like ants. And
I believe it, because I like to watch ants. It's so crazy you bring this up, because I wanted an ant farm. I did some research on them, and I was like very interested on how they operate.
Yeah, so like he has a video out there where these like he has all different species of ants, and then he has like one where I guess they're like some like I don't know, evil ants or something, but they like they eat a cockroach on camera, and then it's just like it's insane. And the thing is like he's getting sponsorship from companies that create ant farms. And
that's so amazing.
Yeah, no, it's freaking awesome. And then there's another guy who does the Marble Olympics. And
did you say marbles?
Yeah, Marble Olympics.
The marbles, like the ones you shoot with the
Yes, those marbles. I
just bought some the other day from back when I was little. We used to play with them.
No, you have to. You have to. Sometime this weekend, you just have to go out and on YouTube and check Marble Olympics. He has all these different competitions, and he's built stadiums with marbles as fans, and then he's announced it's almost like I'm like, I wonder if he really wanted to be like a sports announcer and didn't get his break, because it is so interesting the way he delivers his take on the marbles racing down the hill.
Oh,
it's insane. But
I gotta see this.
Yeah, you got to. And there's again millions of views, and like people are eating it up. And the thing is like, I'm sure when he decided to do it, he didn't know that there was just going to be this whole huge community of people that were going to be interested in it. But he did it, and he you could tell he spent a lot of time, not just with what his announcing piece, but he put a lot of time in the effort. Like it looks like official. If marbles had Olympics, it looks official. Like
that's
it's
awesome.
Insane. Yeah.
I play, so that's awesome.
Yeah, so you'll definitely enjoy it then. And it's just so it's like it's just going to reinforce the fact that like whatever you want to be, whatever it is that you want to do in life, like you can make it happen. I think the thing that people get most caught up in though is like they expect things to happen overnight, or they want that instant gratification, and that's where I think in my conversations with people is where it's always fallen short. It's like people don't have, they're like, oh, I've been even a year, like my journey started when I figured out what it is I wanted to do, started back in 2005, and here we are in 2020. And I think I'm only now getting to a place where I would say for only in the past 5 years have I been able to do it professionally, like where it takes care of my household. So 10 years to get to that point, and another 5 to open a studio and do my first feature film. I mean, it's just the thing at the end of the day, like if it's something you love and you want to do, you're not even counting the time that it's taking because you're enjoying it.
Because you enjoy it so much. Yeah.
Like I've just enjoyed the journey. Like, you know, obviously it's like you accomplish one thing and you set another goal and you go towards it. But to me, it's like the past 15 years have been a blur. It's not like, oh my gosh, when is this going to happen? Because again, if you find yourself sitting there saying that, then it's probably not your passion, because people have asked me, oh, well, Mike, at what point do you quit or give up? Like and I'm like, it's not a quit thing. Like if I couldn't afford, like if I had to go and get, you know, another regular 9-to-5 job, this is still what I would do in my free time. Like it's not a thing of reaching a plateau and then saying I made it. Like that's not it.
Yeah.
You know, it's what I love to do. And I think that's where, you know, I think that's where sometimes people that want to get in that journey and want to get on that path, they kind of have some confusion sometimes as to what that really means. Because I mean, there's a lot of things out there, you know, where you have your motivational speakers and people that post the motivational memes and quotes and all that stuff. And like, that stuff's great. But I mean, like at the end of the day, you shouldn't require motivation from anything else other than yourself wanting to get up and do something better with your life. Because at the end of the day, that's the only person that really, nobody cares. Like, I don't care what you do with your 24 hours. Like, nobody cares what I do with mine. Like, the only person that's in control of that is me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Hey, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Listen closely. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And then you can listen to me, Brandy Joy, with a voice to be reckoned with.
So that's kind of like, you know, I try to instill that with my inner circle, with my family. It's just like, you know, I have a 17-year-old, he's graduating this year, and it's like, he's at that weird crossroads where no one really knows out of high school. Some people know what they want to do, but for the most part, most people are like, oh, you know, but you know, I'm not going to push him down a road that he's not sure about.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of let him find himself and see, you know.
Yeah. Well, and then we over the holidays, we had a real heart to heart. And I said, look, man, whatever it is that you have in the back of your head that you want to see or experiment or check out, or now is the best, like, you have no responsibility in life. Like, you can go out and take some L's and be okay. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because you try to go out and do that you're going to have to be more reserved if you wait till you're in your 30s or your 40s to go out there, because, you know, we all get caught up by adult responsibility. Like, obviously I'm still going to take risks at my age, but I just have to be smarter about it. Like, I can't just say, oh yeah, I'm going to ride out here and intern over here for this company that pays nothing at 40 years old. Like, you know, I can't do that. But at his age, 17 going on 18, absolutely go and learn from somebody, get up under somebody that you're interested in their business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome that you have that talk with them, you know. So I don't know how everybody parents, you know, household is ran or anything like that, and times change. But you know, my son is 12, and you know, there's no book that comes with it, and I still feel like a first time. Like when you have your child for the first time, like when he was born, it's okay. Now he's becoming a teenager, so I'm still like, now I'm learning still. Like, okay, I have to have this talk, and you know, and working at a school too and being around kids all the time, you think I'd just be like, but it just not that, it really doesn't work that way. So I'm just making sure that I'm checking in with them and asking them, and just, you know, like later on, we're going to go grab something to eat and go walk around and talk, and, you know, and want to just, because this right now, at 12, I told them, this is you starting your path. You don't wait until you get out of high school. Like you're working at it now to be where you want to be. So
and I think as parents, we what we have to do is just be mindful of the landscape of life that's going on around them and around us. It's like, if back when I was 17, and you know, and this was like 97, 98, 97, and if I would have went to my mom and said, I want to play video games professionally as my career, like, that would have been the most insane thing. Like, I would have got laughed out of the house, right? But now, if that was something my son wanted, like, that's a real conversation now, because the landscape's changed of how money is earned in today's day and age, and it's just going. Like, I have like I said, I got my youngest one will be 2 in March. I can't even wrap my head around what technology will be like in 15 to 18 years when it's time to have when it's time to have that conversation with him, because that is what, you know, technology is just changing the economy as a whole. So it's not just, I got to go to college, get a degree, and then go work for a corporation somewhere. Like, that model is dying, because you have millennials in their 20s, like, they have no loyal, like when I think of like my grandparents and my wife's grandparents, like, they had a lot of loyalty to companies, but the younger generation doesn't have that. They're going to go where they get the most money and have to do the less work. And that's just and they're not going to be like, and they have no intention on spending 5, 10, or 15 years at a company. They're looking for the better opportunity constantly. So with that changing, I think we're going to see some huge shifts and I've seen a lot here in Georgia. There's a lot of advertisements for the colleges, and they're trying to capitalize on chasing your dreams, and, you know, they happen at our campus or whatever. And I'm like, come on, man, that's a far stretch.
Oh man, that's so funny. Well, well, at least, I mean, that, you know, you are able to have those talk conversations with your son, and you're open to him becoming who he meant to be, and to, like you said, taking a couple of L's, and, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you got to know, you know, to build yourself to become who you're supposed to be. And so that's awesome that you have that.
Yeah, I think it's just a necessity, and I think, you know, at the end of the day, nobody's walked through life undefeated. Everybody's taken L's. I think the plan is to try and take as many of them as early on as you can, so you're not taking so many later on in life.
Yeah.
You know, they tend to hurt a little bit more when you're older, and it takes a while to get back up, you know?
Yep. Yes, they do. Oh man, they sure do. Yes. I always tell the kids, you know, work at a school, I'm like, they're so in a rush to grow up. And I'm just like, trust me, you're not in a rush for anything. You're not missing anything right now. Just go to school, be the best you can be, treat everybody with respect and kindness, and you know, just be a kid, you know, and you know, they just want to be so adult-like. And it's like, obviously that comes from somewhere, you know, and I just try to do my part to always just keep them where they need to be, and that's in the kids' lane, because it's okay to be a kid, because some people are trying to live their childhood when it's too late, but that's because they didn't have it when they were younger. So like,
and I think too, a lot of it too, when you start really breaking it down, it a lot of stuff is like, you know, if you have disrespectful kids or anything, I think you know, it's those things are learned behaviors. I mean, they're not just like they're learned, and like at the end of the day, like, you know, I know especially back in the 90s, early 2000s, video games and music and movies got blamed for certain things kids were doing, like whether it was a school shooting or something crazy like that. And at the end of the day, I'm like, it's the parents.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can't pass pass the blame on anybody, because you know what, I know more about what my kids are into and what they are doing, and these are conversations you got to have. Yeah, and you got to have that bond and relationship. It's not just like when I was growing up, my mom was always like, oh, because I'm the mom and I said so. Like, even though she had no logic behind it and it wasn't like a conversation, it was just like, and the whole time growing up, I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I want to communicate. I want to communicate with my kids, because like she had no idea like what's going on in mine or my siblings' head. It was just like, because I said so, and that was her take on everything, was because she said so.
I came from that too, and I learned, at becoming a parent, I learned how that was something that I did not want to pass on, because it doesn't make sense, because it's, that's not how it works. We raised our kids to become like independent and how to speak up for, and to, it all depends on your delivery, and how to, we just teach them these things. And then when we do, then we shut them down, and it's like, wait, no, I said so. And it's like, that's because then they're not going to talk to you basically, and you're not going to know a lot of things. So you got to leave it open, for them to feel comfortable to come to you and tell you. Don't always have to like what they have to say, but at least you have a child that's talking to you.
Yeah. And in their teenage years, and you're on the cusp of it, there's just this whole funk they go through, and it's just like, you almost like, it's like they have just this funk and rebellion against parents. Like, it doesn't matter what you do, they're not going to like you because you're you're the authority figure in their life. And and I think that's the thing, is like drawing the line of knowing where I don't want to be your friend, I'm your parent, but I'm here for you at the same time. But like, there's my mom, for her, she was always, she'd rather be our friend. She wanted to be buddies. So it was a little bit different as a teenager. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but it is what it is.
Yeah, some things work for others that it doesn't. I just think the bottom line is, as long as the child knows that who's the parent and they're respectful, you know what I mean? Because what I feel like when I see a very respectful child that's respectful towards adults and say yes ma'am, and you can just tell respect, and you know where that came from. That came from the home, and you kind of get a feeling of what type of parent or what kind of upbringing that child has. Because I'm around a lot of kids that the things that they say to adults, I sit back in astonishment, like I would have got my mouth. I wouldn't even have a mouth today.
Exactly.
To talk to an adult like that. So, yeah, that's crazy.
It is. Yeah. It is. But at the end of the day, you kind of got to just stay in your hula hoop, because you only got control over the influence of who's around you. You know what I mean? So it's just like, all I know is when my boys are out in public or in private, they're going to be polite, they're going to have manners, and they're going to do the right thing. We try to teach integrity. You do the right thing even when no one else is looking. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think those are kind of just, it doesn't even have to be complicated. It's just simple, obvious stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of things are the things that make life a lot easier are very simple, and people have a tendency to make life like more complicated. It's like the simple stuff, like respect, common sense. It's too hard for some people. It's like, I was like, what's happening here? Is it in the milk? I always make jokes. I'm like, you really need to leave that school milk alone, okay? I don't know what they're putting in there.
Yeah.
I'll drink the milk.
Yeah, it's we live in a big world. A lot of people are in it. So, everyone is not gonna, not everyone's gonna get along, and not everyone's gonna be on the same page. But I guess at the same time, that's the same thing that makes the world great, is that we can have our own ideas and own thoughts in our own lane.
Yeah, just gotta respect them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wanted to definitely get to know you more and ask you as far as everything that you're doing and all. Is there anybody that has inspired you, that is like, someone that is big, because you do your directing and stuff. Have you ever had like a favorite director, actor, or someone that plays a part kind of in what you do today?
Yeah, I think anybody in the creative field is inspired from different artists. I think it would be crazy if someone said they didn't or they weren't, because the way we normally fall in love with that passion is seeing the work of somebody else that you really really admire, or really look up to, as far as their work goes. And I definitely have a handful. As far as directors go, I'm a huge David Fincher fan, huge Tim Burton and Martin Scorsese fan, and they're kind of a wide range of what the stories they tell, but I feel like those three best encompass where I come from, or what I would aspire to be as a director. And then also a lot of imagery is inspired from Annie Leibovitz. She's probably one of the most iconic photographers of all time. Like, she has incredible work. And if you're not familiar with her, I would definitely just do a quick Google search. Like, she has incredible work. She's photographed anybody within relevance in the past 50 years. Like, insane. Wow. Yeah.
What's her last name again?
It's Leibovitz. It's Liebo. Oh gosh, I know. I always jack up her name. Leibovitz.
I think Google will probably finish it off though if I get far.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Leibovitz.
Okay.
And she, I think so. Like, she actually photographed John Lennon from the Beatles. I want to say it was the day he was murdered, it was like the same day like he was murdered. She had a photo, so essentially she was the last person to take pictures of John Lennon before he was murdered. But since then, I mean, like, she's done every celebrity and political figure globally. So it's just like, she just has a very unique design when it comes to her photography, with a lot of deep dark contrast and bold colors, and it's just very cinematic photography. So those are some of my influences that pretty much fell in love with where I fell in love with the art. Oh, and John Hughes too. Like, John Hughes was huge for me growing up, just because I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin originally, and he was born and raised like an hour south from where I grew up, and it was in Illinois. So like, all of his movies he filmed in his hometown. So when we would watch his movies, it looked like it's only movies in the 80s and 90s that looked like my neighborhood in the Midwest, because everything else was, filmed in New York or California at those times. So it just kind of gave me a unique connection to the films, because I related so much, because the schools looked like the schools that we went to, and the neighborhoods looked like my neighborhood when I walked outside, type thing. So
cool. Okay, that's awesome. Do you have any, because I remember you said that you feel like you're just getting to the point where you're not there yet, but you're further along from where you were before. And do you have a most significant or memorable time in your journey that stands out to you, and that kind of makes you sit back and just smile,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot, because things that I would have never dreamt were possible or even, conceptualized as something that could happen. And then when they happen, it's just like, wow, it's almost like I've had a lot of surreal moments where it's just like, for example, this E-Listers movie that's coming out in March, that my production company shot it, I directed it, and I'm handling the post-production on it, is like that. The odds were stacked against us to even make that film because it was so ambitious. We had a 77-page script with a budget of $20,000 and we shot it in 7 days. And we had a cast of over 60 speaking roles, over 50 background extras, and then a crew of 20 to 25 people. And anybody I've ever talked to in production, when I tell them that we shot it in 7 days, they're in astonishment. And the thing is we didn't sacrifice any of the quality or anything to make it in that short of time. So, I mean, that's the most recent one. Like when we wrapped on that film and then watching stuff play back in the edit and going through the current cut of the film, it's almost like I look at it, I'm like, there's no way I had anything to do with this film. Like it's too polished, it's too professional. Like sometimes you got to look back at where you came from to realize you've grown in whatever your craft is. And yeah, so it's like that's the most recent one. Last year would have been buying the building. We bought a 2,100 square foot, basically a shell. It had 4 walls and a ceiling.
Yeah, I see your YouTube video.
Yeah. So it's almost done. I was just there today. They got about 3 more rooms to do the sheetrock on, and we'll be almost ready for paint sometime this week coming up. So that's super exciting, because I remember when I very first started my journey, I bought this Sony Vaio laptop, and I had this little roll cart that we'd roll into the living room at our old house, and that's where it started, and yeah, it's just crazy to now buying a building and having a production van and shooting a feature film, and it's crazy.
That's awesome. I'm excited for you, and I get excited because you inspire me, you know what I mean? And it just solidifies that if you want it, you can have it.
I think the thing is, for especially creative, like, we got to inspire each other, because the rest of the world doubts people like us.
Yeah, they surely do.
They think we live with our head in the clouds, and they're just like, that's not a real job. Until you do something, like, you really have to work extra hard to solidify yourself to the rest of the general public, because we're not doing, we're not doing a 9-to-5 type thing. And I think, so we really have to be the force to lift each other up, because we're the only ones that get each other. You know what I mean? Like, it's not what I'm talking about is not crazy, or what you want to do is not crazy. It's perfectly sane. You know what I mean? So there's only going to be that certain group of people that get that. So I think we really have to find ways to lift each other up, empower us, because even the most positive people and the most upbeat people still have down days. I mean, like, it's don't people get that confused. Like, there's days where I'm just mentally exhausted. Like, some days beat me, some days are just an L, and that's just what it is. Like, is being able to pick it back up the next day and go forward.
Yep. Yep. Just don't let it, stay down. You know what I mean? You just get back up, and it's kind of like you got to rejuvenate, and
Yeah,
get the
absolutely,
gas in the
absolutely.
car or get a tune up.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. That's exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's the that's all you could do, because it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Because if you don't, no one else cares. Like, it's just like, I think at the end of the day, it's like you got to have that switch in your head, like, nope, I got to do this for me, like, period, like, because no one else cares. So it's just like no one's going to take care of you like you know what I mean? So you have to find that energy to keep it going, even like when it's tough. Like, I could tell you, renovating a building, I was so far outside of my comfort zone and control zone, and not knowing, I don't know, at the time when I started, I didn't know anything about construction. I have a very intimate relationship with my building now. There's nothing you can tell me, or there's nothing I don't know about my building currently. So it's like, but that was a huge growing timeline for me, because I was way outside. Like, and I'm usually in a position like, okay, if something messes up, I usually, I can troubleshoot, fix it, do whatever I need to do to get things back on track. But in the construction world, I don't have any control in that, between county permits and contractors. Like, I got to move at everybody else's pace. And that is that's a very hard thing for me to digest, because like, I'm the person like, oh, if it's going to take long, I'm just going to go do it myself. Like, I'm going to get it done. Yeah. So, and I only sleep 4 to 5 hours a day. So it's like, I try to maximize those 19 to 20 hours that I'm up to be as productive as possible. So I'm always going.
See, I like see it, and it's awesome to hear that, because I that's how I'm learning from other people as I meet more people. That's how creatives are, and that usually we don't really we have to uplift each other, because our people around us and our family members and stuff, they don't get it. And I was living that, and I was kind of like, why nobody interested in, you know what I mean? I'm like, did you see my show? And it's just like, you would think that would be your biggest supporters. And I remember I had a show with George Romero, and he said, you know what, Brandy? He was broke it down to me, and he was like, they usually don't. And he just kind of what you said about how creatives and how we think and we know, and how usually the ones that are around us the most are our family. They don't really get it, and we can't really expect them to. But it's really cool though when you find people like you know what I mean, that get it, and everything makes sense, because I didn't know if I just was like too much time. People ask me a lot, especially at work, when I tell them about my show and stuff. I don't really talk about it too much, because I just to the point, like, if you don't see it, you don't watch it, I mean, come on. You already know. But it's like, where do you find the time to do that? And in my head, I'm thinking like, where wouldn't I find the time? I know the past 2 weeks I was on vacation, so I went hard. I did a grip of I was really there, but I was having a good time. So in actuality, vacation, I had a great time, because I was doing what I love to do. But it was like, where do you find the time to do that? And I'm thinking, like, where do you find the time not to do what you love? So what do you do with it? To me, it's like this.
See,
what
when
do you
they
do
ask you that,
if you enjoy it?
Yeah. When they ask you that, the reason they're asking you that is because they see that as work and not something because they don't have the enjoyment or the passion about it that you do. So they're seeing it as like, it's almost like it's a job, and they have, it's just like a thing that they would have to do, versus like, the next time someone says like, oh, do you enjoy reading a book, or what do you do? Like, it's equivalent. It's equivalent to that. Like, if you like to read novels on the weekend, think about that, and then think about what I'm doing, because this is what I like to do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that always throws me off. I'm like, ew, that's because if you're not doing what you love to do, you're not living.
Right, exactly.
So, and my kids, they do a thing every week with the teacher. She'll ask, they'll go around the class and ask what they did on the weekend. And they'll be like, don't forget Miss Brandy. And I'll just be over there acting like I'm not, I'm doing my thing. And I'm like, huh? You got to hold this little thing that goes around the group. You can't talk unless you're holding it. They're like, so Miss Brandy, what did you do this weekend? And I'll go, well, guys,
Yeah.
I did some nice interviews on my podcast. And, they know I'm working on bullying. I said, I worked on, my bullying. And it's to be honest with you, it's the same answer. It just gets a little better each week.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. And I always have this huge smile on my face, like, yeah, that's what Miss Brandy did.
Yeah, it's like I was talking to one of my teammates. We were just with the holidays. He went out of town, and I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, "Yeah, holidays were great. We spent some time with the family. I knocked out 2 client websites for them, and I did this." And they're like, "Dude, it sounds like you worked the whole." No, I was like, "No, that's not work. That's what I'm. Like that's it's an outlet, man. I don't know how else to explain it. Like." It is what it is. And, that's the other thing too, that I've had to adjust in my thinking is that not everyone is going to run at the speed that I do or be at the same production level, like as not in film production, but just like how productive I strategize my days out to be. Like, for me, I have to be able to say when I wake up tomorrow, I'm further than I was the day before. So like, even if that's just moving everything an inch, as long as I don't have 2 days that are stagnant and nothing moved forward, you know what I mean? Like that then I'm okay. But, cause some days are going to be more productive than others, but my goal is to have some type of productivity where we're moving the yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's me. I have to do something. Or I just feel like, even if I'm on vacation, if I feel like if I haven't done anything that furthered me along, even just by a little bit, I feel like my day, like, what did I do? I feel kind of gross. I don't know how to explain it, but like I just wasted away a whole day of my life that I can't get back.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Like, and some people are cool. They're cool with wasting that time. I'm just not one of those people. Like, I gotta go out and, like, it goes back to, these are the things that I feel it takes to get where I want to be. Like, I just want to be great, So it's like I have to function at a great level to do that, or if I ever have hopes of getting there.
For sure. It's just so cool because everything that you're saying and talking about, because when you want something you have to be willing to do the work and have expectations of yourself. And I think it's a good message also for our youth, because they get so, either it's I'm working on this bullying campaign right now, and I just I'm trying to get to this place where I can pull greatness, out of these kids that want to tear each other apart, and teach them that you can be a person to build things, to build each other up, or you can be a person to tear down, and it just plays a part in where you're going to be in life. Are you going to work hard to make people miserable?
Right. Yeah. And I think too, sometimes it's giving them that thing to, like, I think there a lot of the youth, like, so out of this film, the E-Listers, something really, really cool and unexpected happened out of it. The writer, Edward Reed, who's also the lead role in the film, he wrote in the film that there was like a musical play that happened within at a high school. And as soon as I read, I was like, dude, I don't know. I'm like, it gets really complicated red tape, like when you start talking about minors filming in school, government property, like that. I'm like, I don't know how we're going to do that. But my AD, she's very heavily involved with her PTO and has a network of parents and teachers, and she was actually able to get in touch with a drama teacher at a high school on our side of town. And it was during summer break, so it kind of alleviated a lot of that red tape, and we just had to make sure we got the parents' permission and all that stuff and the right paperwork done. But at the end of the day, they put this phenomenal performance together. And then I stayed in touch with the drama teacher and everything. And I saw the talent there, and I'm like, these kids are here on their summer vacation. They're coming into school, and you kind of just see this spark in these young kids, and it's like I want to add fuel to that. So we worked this whole thing out. So this whole school year, our school year starts in August here. So on Thursdays of each week, we started an after-school program around filmmaking for at that high school. So we've been basically we started with we came up with some concepts. We started writing the script, and by the end of it, we'll have a short film by the end of the school year that they either acted in, produced, or did some part of the production piece. And it's after school, and it's 2 hours, and we have a class of 20 kids from freshmen to seniors that are dedicated to coming after school for 2 hours on a Thursday. And it's just it all came from doing the E-listers. I wouldn't even met or crossed paths with them otherwise. And
that's awesome.
It's a huge thing. I think it's great because for me, I'm super involved with the indie film community here in Atlanta. So for me, not just being a creator or a director or having a production company, for me to have an active involvement in what that community looks like, I think it's got to start at the ground zero. And if we're doing something where we're showing it and motivating kids from ground up, the freshmen, if the freshmen in this, if they stick with it for 4 years, they could probably walk out and get a job out of high school with what we're doing. You know what I mean? That's
awesome.
Powerful to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so cool because it's kind of you're already giving them a taste of what it looks like, you know what I mean, to work at something, and they're looking forward to now doing what they need to do and putting that foot forward at school, because you just gave them a taste of a look at what their future can be, you know what I mean, if they just work hard. And I think that's pretty brilliant. And I think more people I think a lot of schools should push that more, letting them see what it's a taste of what it's like, something like that. So
in December, there was a private school that reached out to me in Atlanta, and I came. They actually, this was their first year doing putting filmmaking in their curriculum. So they invited me out to come and talk to the kids and kind of just just go over some things with the teachers and stuff. And it was so exciting just because I'm oh my gosh, I wish there would have been something like this when I was in high school, because this is I know for a fact if it was something that was an option when you're going through your classes, I would have took it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it seems to me that there are it's getting there, but something like the kids that I work with every Thursday, even talking with them, it comes down to the support at home when it comes to parents just don't see there being a career in it. And and then too, you can see how it affects kids, you know what I mean? So it's just give it, just being that force that says, I believe you can do it and it can happen. I'm proof of it. I think is enough. You know what I'm saying? If I can do it, you can do it. And it's just sometimes everyone's got to find their support system. It's just not always going to be the people you think is going to be your support system.
Exactly. It'll amaze you just how you'll find out it's not and who it is. So for sure. And I was thinking it's crazy though. We tell our kids you can do and you can be, whatever you want, and then in the same instance, oh, that's ridiculous. Someone who says that, or they come to you with something that their heart is into, and then you kind of shut them down. So yeah, I think personally as a parent, I'm an 80s baby, but my son, he's 12. I think some parents, we just got to spruce it up a little bit and get into we got to, things have changed, and we got to find out what kids like, and then it's not going to be the same. They're not going to have the same goals or want to do the same dry stuff you probably did, the 9 to 5, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like if my son isn't breaking any laws, he's not hurting anyone or himself, then go big and go hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an uphill battle for sure, but I think at the end of the day, I just got to know in my head that I'm doing my part to better that community and push it forward in a positive way. And I'm okay with that. Like obviously, you ain't gonna change the world overnight. But I think as long as each of us that have like a serious investment in it, that we all do our part, and it's just one of those things that take time. But I think I see the growth. I see it, and the being involved with the high school kids and just knowing I think the ones that there's already some standout ones that I know are going to take it serious going out of high school, and to me just being able to see that from ground zero and see where they go, I think that's just super exciting.
While every shelter pet is unique, some love a good game of fetch and others would rather snuggle on the couch together. However, there's one thing that they all have in common. They're all pure love. Right now, millions of pets across shelters and rescues across the country are waiting to be adopted. Did you know that only 44% of dogs and 47% of cats in American homes come from animals, shelters, and rescue groups? The unique qualities of each and every shelter pet add up to an incredible bond between every shelter pet and parent. I love pets, and I think they're just so giving and loving, and they just show you the best, of what love is. And this is all from an little animal. They come in all sizes, big, small, furry, not furry. But like I said, love. If you're thinking about getting a pet this holiday season, make sure to visit the shelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, Maddie's Fund, and the Humane Society of the United States. Please consider these animals need love, and they need you, and you need them. Thank you. And a voice to be reckoned with. We support the animals and their safety and their love.
That's amazing. I respect that so much, because I want to see that, for all our youth, and in my end, I'm just, trying to, make it safer. Someone I was talking to, I guess today, and we were talking about because she has a book for young kids on bullying and how bullying, is never really going to go away, because there's bullies that are adults, there's all types of bullying, but, to at least try to make it a better place, put a dent in it. Scott Silverman always told me, you can't change the world, but we can sure put a dent in it. And I liked that, because that's a big task. But if everybody did their part, and so I'm just going hard, with the stopping the pain bullying, advocacy, and, if we all, you're doing your part, and your part plays a big role in that, because you could be just, you sometimes, by you giving kids that outlet or that opportunity, could have turned out in a whole different way for them, and became part of, could have, and it's just play. It can, you never know what you've done for them. They could have been dealing with something, or be bullied, or fall into the wrong crowd, or you just never know.
Yeah. It is, and I think I think you're dead on with that, and I think it's one of those things too where it's there's nothing. It's that scenario where I am just giving my time and my experience and what I know about the subject, and kind of just running with it. But at the end of the day, it's not something I have no anticipation of getting anything out of it. It's not something that those kids are gonna have. It's something that they can't repay. You know what I mean? It's something that it's just me doing my part as a productive member of society. This is what I know how to do. This is where my contribution has to come in, because this is all I know is media. So I have to find ways to make that part of my story and my legacy and what I pass on. You know what I mean? That's just what I do. I'm not good at anything else, if that makes sense. That's just what it's like. I know how to tell a story, I know how to build a team, and I know how to get people together, and I know how to tackle the impossible and make it possible. Those are my attributes that I have in life, and showing other people how to do that is something I'm an advocate of, and I want to do it as much as possible. Anyone who listens, I'll talk to them about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you're very important to the youth too, because you're showing them how to use media in a very correct, a very fun, artistic and a proper way, because so many kids use media for countless of the wrong things, to hurt others, or sometimes they just don't even know. I always tell kids, do you know what you have in front of you at your fingertips right now?
Yeah.
You're just kind of, just wasting away, or just Snapchat. I don't know what they do sometimes, but I know that a lot of them like to hurt others, or, there's a lot of cyberbullying. And so I think that's a very positive way to show kids to, take media and use it in the right way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, Brandy, you would be interested in the short that we're writing and going to be producing with the school, because essentially it was, I wanted this to be their project. So I was just providing guidance and opinion as far as just the efficient ways to do things. But I wanted the story to be something that they told and something that they came up with, and the end product is something that is theirs. It's not mine. I was just a part of it, but it's their. Right. They can own it at the end. And basically, the concept is like a current day Breakfast Club type movie, where we have kids in school suspension, but they're from what the current cliques are in this school and how they intertwine. And it's been really interesting because there's a huge I think just the discussions, like when we were talking about character development and breaking it down, there's such a psychology breakdown in there of like what these kids are going through and experiencing, because this is honestly, it's probably one of the smartest ways you can talk to teenagers, because they're not thinking of them opening up and sharing with you. They're thinking, well, we're just writing a script. We're just writing a story. But they're putting so much out there because they're doing it from their perspective of what is going on in their day-to-day life. And all of a sudden you're just mind blown about the things going on and the things that they're experiencing at their age and place in life. And it's been a huge just eye-widening moment for myself. And it's been really awesome. But I think that their story and what their film will be something that definitely aligns a lot with the anti-bullying and all the stuff that's going on, because this really tackles a lot of the stuff talked about in there. it's not even so much bullying as just people being mean to one another. I
Yeah.
think there's a line. I think there's a difference. Some people are just mean, and it doesn't necessarily like a bully, like give me your lunch money and I make just this one person miserable. But some people are just mean,
Just rude. Yeah. Just nasty.
and
Yeah.
and that a lot of that is flushed out in this script. So I will definitely make sure to, like, once we have a final product and everything, love to send it over to you and see, get your thoughts on it too, just because you have such a investment into that type of advocacy.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I would love to see what you guys have, because yeah, I just, any way that I could, like you said, not looking for anything out of it. I just want to be able to do my part, but I do want to see change. You know what I mean? I want to see kids, and it's not just about, ridding of the bully. It's like the behavior, yeah, but I want to see that person that bullies. I want to see them succeed too and be seen in a whole nother light. I don't want them to be looked at as the bully.
It's
people to look at you for something better.
Yeah, it's really about them, those transforming as well. Because I think there's there's a healing for both people.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's definitely something that's triggering this person to be mean or bully. You know what I mean? So it's not always. Yeah.
They're probably being bullied too. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're getting bullied at home probably, and I've heard so many different stories, and met so many different type of kids that come from some type of trauma, and then this is the behavior that they actually they show. And so for me, it helps me understand them more and handle them gently. I don't go about talking about it, because those aren't me. I'm not in a position to be able to do that. I have to have boundaries because I'm not, I just work there. You know what I mean? But it helps me deal with them better, and to, when they're around me, I know to look for, definitely, but to also just show them, that I'm not just this person here to try to tell you what to do or how to do it. I'm here because I care. Being here and listening to Michael is pretty awesome. It just means the world to me to get to know somebody and their way across, in a whole nother state, and to feel a connection and a bond and similarities, and to share that with each other, I think is what the world really is about, what it should be about. And I think this is a good example of people coming together to share in a common love for something. And I just want this to spread all over,
Biggest things we can do, whether it's with our own kids or with kids we have a possible influence or just involved with them at any level, I think is like one of the biggest things that we can do as adults and mentors is just be there, be available, show up. Like it's not rocket science. Like sometimes just showing up and being there to support somebody, you don't even have to say anything, but just presence of being there goes such a long way. And that's not just with youth, that's just with anybody. Like it doesn't take having to have like this huge philosophical mindset and knowing to say all the right things at the right time. It has nothing to do with that. It's just show up and be present in the people's lives that you care about, whether that's the youth or family or friends, whatever. I think simple things like that go so much further than what people want to give them credit for. Because people, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. Just be there. That's all you got to do is just be there. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. So true, so true. I know some people think they gotta like have this one friend who thinks you gotta fix everything. I gotta feel like I don't. That's not always necessary. You can't fix me, or you can't. But just you don't have to even say anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just be there.
yeah, yeah. And it's this thing over the past couple years that and this is way left field, but it puts you, when you're in a position of where you need to be there for somebody, but there's nothing you can say. Like if someone has a loved one that passed away, like there's not going to be a magical phrase you're going to be able to spit out and make that person better. Their grief is just their thing that they got to do. And grief is just something, for the most part, that we do alone. But what I've learned over the years is, instead of trying to say the perfect thing or come up with it's more like, hey, listen, I know there's not any words that are going to make you feel better, but if you need someone to help take you out, get your mind off of things, or just talk or whatever, like, I'm here for you. And that's just kind of where I started leaving it, because I always used to build it up to where, oh man, I don't know what to say to him. It's such it's like, it's walking on eggshells. You don't know what to say. You don't know what to do. And, it's just like a tough scenario. But I kind of just removed the whole, hey, I'm just going to be here. Like, you tell me where you need me involved, and, if you need me to bring you some food or whatever. But I think it's been so much more effective than trying to be the fixer or the solver, or, because in some situations, time is the only thing that's going to heal certain things.
Yeah, much for sure. Yeah, and that person's might used to hearing everybody else say those things that you're trying, you know what I mean? So it makes it so, and it can be frustrating, and like my sister, her husband passed away, and and I just, what I mean, didn't want to overwhelm, and I just wanted, just to be just there, like, hey, whatever it is, like, you need me to go around and go slap some people. That was just being funny, go slap some people.
Yeah.
Let me know. I'm there.
Yeah. It's what, and I think those things, resonate so much easier with someone going through a tough time versus trying to, make attempts at solving something you can't solve.
Yeah.
It's not for you to solve, you know what I mean? But, I think that's, even though people have the right intentions behind it, it's like realizing that, hey, we as individuals don't have the ability to fix everything. Sometimes just showing up and just being there is all we need to do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully, somebody listens to our show here, and we can help somebody. I know we've talked about a few things, but either way it goes, it may sit and register with somebody. You just never know.
No, I think, and I definitely encourage, even if it's one person, just one person. I mean, that's a job well done. Just to, it could inspire somebody to do whatever it is that they've been waiting to do. I mean, that's the great thing about the current state of technology, is like, you're in San Diego, I'm in Atlanta. We have a mutual connection, and it's just like, now here we are having like these deep dive conversations that 10 years ago, I don't even know, it would be, I don't even know if it would be possible to connect with people the way we're able to now. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. I'm so honored still to be able. This is your time, and you have shared it with me, and you've been so open about a plethora of things, and you have so much to be excited about, about your, premiere and everything, and I'm just like stoked. You can't tell because you can't see me right now.
No, I got you. No, it's and I think that's, I love, like, when I get to have conversations with people that it's just like, oh, like, you're my spirit animal, like 3,000 miles away, because you just align, like, with the same vision and are instantly, like, on the same page. And I think, like, and the only thing separating people is like all the distance. And I think it's always, I love having these kind of conversations. So it's definitely been a treat just to talk with someone 3,000 miles away that's like, hey, I'm over here, beating my own drum, doing, on the same page as you, way over on the East Coast, so it's just incredible.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. So yeah, I'm super excited just about everything going on. And the E-Listers is, we'll have our premiere in March, so beginning of March, and then it'll be available on Amazon after we do our premiere. So I'm excited just for people to see what's possible. That like, it's the epitome of against all odds is really what that movie is just how much went into it. It shouldn't have been possible. And
wow.
we did it.
Yes, and it sounds like you worked so hard, and you deserve it. And I just, once again, I'm so happy for you. I'm happy to share the moment, this time with you, and being able to share it with everybody. And you're always welcome back here on my show to share, to update, to share more, you know what I mean? And to talk about, just about it. This is a voice to be reckoned with. And I found that from where I was in the beginning, what I started with, where I wanted my show to go to where it is now, I have a better understanding of what my show is for and what it's about. And it's a voice to be reckoned with, and a voice of many. That's like my little tagline: a voice for many, or a voice of many. And this is a home for you.
I got to ask you, so what was it when you came up, when that was the name, what was the goal of it at that time? And then fast forward to today, what changed, and what is just give me the difference. And I don't mean to flip the interview on you, but
no,
I'm just
okay.
interested. No, like, because I like, I think it's catchy, and I think it's like, oh, let me see what this is about. So just knowing that, you've had it going on for a year or so, and there's definitely things you figure out and growth there. It's just I'm always interested to hear someone's story as how they got to where they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, and not a problem. Well, in the beginning, I had a whole different name. I think it was "It's Where It's At," and I just like put it out there because I was like, okay, this is to my head. I was like, "It's where it's at." Like, if you want to hear about whatever, come here. This is my show. It's where it's at.
Right.
And then I just started, with the things I wanted to talk about, like worldly stuff, things that people can identify. But it was so many different things. I used to tell people I have a lot to say, a lot to talk about. I'm versatile. There's so much stuff going on inside this head here, that I spoke about telecom, the whale, SeaWorld, and I'd go through the bullying. I'd go to so many different things, with so many different type. I didn't have a type of person or guest that at first I didn't even start with guests. I was like, I don't know how that even works. I just did everything. And then I started to, reel in some people to share with. And then as I went forward, it kind of still switched a little bit. And it was like, okay, I just was like, I need a new name. I need to reinvent. I was like, I said, well, I like to talk and talk to other people. I said, okay, a voice, but I feel like I'm so passionate about everything I do, and everything I put out, it comes from a place, within me. And then I was like, and through, the times and everything that's going on right now in our society, from the, which I'm not really into politics or anything like that, from just the malarkey and the bull crap and everything with, with our youth. It was just like more of like me wanting my voice to be powerful and to be heard, and if I was speaking for, someone else, because it wasn't just about my voice, a voice to be reckoned with. I was speaking for the person that is too shy to speak, or doesn't feel they have the courage, or doesn't feel like they're not being heard. Then okay, don't worry about it. I got you. I'll do it for you, and trust me, they'll hear me, And so I came about, okay, a voice to be reckoned with, because you're going to know. You know what I mean? It's not like even in that much of an aggressive way, like a hostile or anything like that. It's just more of me just bringing that empowerment in my voice and the things that I say and what I talk about and how I say it. And then it turned into like me doing a lot of interviews and speaking with others. And then it was like, okay, now and like I told you, I said, your voice, this is for you too, your platform, a voice for many. And then celebrities were coming on and just different types of people. I did shows with like a friend of mine that has a nonprofit, and then I did a show with my son actually a few times, and so it's like a voice, to be reckoned with. It didn't have to be about something that was just like that had to do with maybe just that one particular thing. Like someone came on, they wanted, like you're talking about, what you're talking about, but it's your voice and you're sharing it because you want people to hear and know what's going on with you.
Yeah.
And so it was like so that's when I realized more of, it didn't have to just target like a one certain type of genre or whatever it is I'm trying to say here.
Like you didn't have to target like a certain demographic. It was broad enough. And I think that's I think that's really unique, and I think it's really clever, just because a lot of times there could be certain topics that they may not be a big enough topic where it's like you dedicate like an ongoing podcast around one topic. But I think something like what you have going on is great because you're powering other people's voices and then adding yours to it. You know what I mean? And I think that's great. I think that's a really good way to tackle it, because you can tackle everything from social issues to pop culture to whatever. And
exactly.
It's a very smart platform, I think.
Yeah, because I feel like I want this to be a place where I feel like if I made you laugh, cry, and maybe pissed you off a little bit to get mad enough about something, to care about something, then I've done my job.
Yeah, and I think as a storyteller, at the end of the day, director, editor, whatever, producer, at the end of the day, I just consider myself a storyteller, and what I want my stories to do is provoke emotion, whether that's laughter, sadness, anger. A lot of my work, like the E-Listers, is actually the first comedy that I've tackled, in addition to it being my first film, or first full-length feature film. Like, I've done shorts, and I've done a ton of music videos, ton of different shorts and stuff like that, and episodic. So it was a whole different lane, because a lot of the material, and I don't know why, I guess up to this point, I most of my stuff has been on the darker side, and I think it's because it was just an outlet. Like, for a very long time, like, I had this anxiety of just death, just the idea of death, even though it's like the one thing everyone in this life will go through at some point. It was just like this overbearing anxiety. Like, I didn't want to, like, I couldn't go to funerals. I couldn't, I just avoided the topic at any means. And then I guess, like, after when my grandmother passed when she was 96, and this was like maybe like right about 5 years ago, and I just decided I'm going to just tackle this. And the way I did it was through writing and creating characters. So I have a series, Morty, that's on Amazon, and it's about a mortician who talks to the dead. And there's an episode where he deals with a suicide victim. There's one where deals with an overdose, and it's just like it lets me play it out on screen through actors, and then crafting the story in the edit. And it's like, it's meant to provoke people to talk about things that they're not normally comfortable or not the biggest trend to have, like that you're out with your friends. So it's just like, that was my outlet. And not that I'm 1,000% cured, but it's definitely, it was definitely therapeutic just to, like, we shot that series in funeral homes, in embalming rooms with dead bodies under blankets around us. So like,
wow.
Yeah, like you walk in and you smell the formaldehyde. Like, it was a very, like, I essentially just took my greatest fears and just went head on and stood there, and we shot it and I had to work with actors and my crew, and it was intense, but yeah, it was intense, interesting. And we have one more episode that's coming out, that'll be out on Amazon soon. I don't have an exact date because the E-listers have taken complete priority. But there's 3 episodes out there now, and we have one more that we're releasing.
Awesome. Well, I'm stoked. I'm definitely gonna check out. Is it Morty?
Yeah, it's called Morty. It's on Amazon. It's on YouTube. I mean, it's on all the different platforms. But it is like, it does have like a longer runtime, so it's not really like, I think the 3rd episode is like 45 minutes, so it's not like something you want. Like, I always tell people Amazon, because it's just like, oh, I could just watch that from my living room and not necessarily from a computer. Or but if YouTube is your way to go, it's available on YouTube as well. So it's out there. Yeah.
For sure. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me here today.
Oh yeah, I had a blast. I love the conversation, and I will definitely love to come back on and do an update whenever I got one available.
Yes, for sure, most definitely. But can you please do me the honor and my listeners the honor of letting them know again one more time where they can find anything they need, that the work that you've done, and when the premiere of the E-listers will be showing.
Yes, my home base for everything related to anything I ever do is just m3creative.net. Links to all my social media, everything from every project I've ever done, everything is right there on my website. And we are looking forward to releasing the E-listers the first week of March of this year. So that's coming up really soon. So super excited. And we release, I don't know exactly when your episode comes out. Well, depending upon what day that falls, Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So I believe that's 6 a.m. your guys' time. The trailer, the world premiere will be out of the trailer, which I'm super excited about, because we get to see a variety of the characters that the film highlights. And I'm just excited for people to see it and get some feedback on it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's Monday, right? You said 9 a.m. Eastern your time, right? Oh, okay. Well, then we're going to pretend like, rewind, like you asked me that question again. It's going to be out tomorrow.
Got to. Yeah. So, whenever someone listens to it, just go to, and you can also, for the E-listers, it's elistersmovie.com. We'll have all of from merchandise to cast interviews to behind the scenes pictures to, we do have like a 7-minute sneak peek of one scene that we released earlier, maybe about 6 months ago. So if that is something people would love to check out, the great thing that's awesome about that is that it's a 7.5-minute scene, and it's one continuous shot. Big shout out to Ben Beeler, who is my DP and cinematographer. He went through 7.5 minutes of carrying a steady cam, carrying it through this scene that covers about 40 extras that all have different lines within it. So it's unique in itself. So I definitely encourage people to check that out as well.
For sure. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm definitely going to be, actually, I have a page. I'll be able to give you more of that information later. I'm getting better at the social media thing and putting stuff on my page and actually remembering how to get there and tell people. So yeah, I'll be sharing, on my page too, and on my website when it's finished, so people can, our listeners on the side can know what's going on and be ready for everything. I call it everything Mike Mueller. I just branded you. That's a whole new everything Mike Mueller.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, if I put it on a shirt, I'll definitely make sure to get you the credit. I might put that on a shirt.
For sure, for sure. Well, thank you so much, and it was such a great time having you here. I had such a good time. I feel like I made a new best friend.
I know. I'm glad. We'll definitely be in touch, and I definitely want to hear more about your journey and your story as it progresses. Like I said, we gotta support each other and lift each other up. So definitely,
Sure.
if there's anything, just hey, 2 cents, or you need 2 cents on something, just let me know. I'm always glad to lend an ear.
Thank you so much, and same here. If anything, just where I'm at. Well, you don't know where I'm at, but you can find me.
Yeah, I got your phone number. I got your email. That's all I need.
Oh, it's so funny.
Buzz driving is drunk driving. And if you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Did you know over 10,000 people lost their lives due to impaired driving fatalities in 2017? Enjoying a night out and find yourself oversharing or taking too many selfies? If the answer is yes, then you're noticing your buzzed warning signs. Buzz warning signs include over-texting, taking too many selfies, oversharing, chugging water to sober up, turning the music down to focus, chewing gum, popping mints, eating snacks to soak up the alcohol, drinking coffee to sober up, splashing water on your face, doing jumping jacks. Wow. I mean, all these things to do to sober up to drive, when hey, how about you just don't drive? When you spot your buzzed warning sign, call a cab, car, or friend when it's time to go home. Just don't drive home. A message brought to you by NHTSA, NHTSA, and the Ad Council. Thank you, and a voice to be reckoned with. We support the no drinking and driving. Senseless, careless, and just wrong.
And this guy, this guy right here, Michael Mueller, he loves what he does, and it comes from a very good, honest place. And I think the world is a lucky place, a better place because of people like Michael Mueller. And so I truly believe in him, his vision, and I'm happy to be able to share this moment and any other moment I get to share. But I find this to be history right here. And yeah, thanks, Mike.